And hi everyone! Welcome to Talking Life with Macy. It looks like we're beginning already. It's 3:30. I know the borders have just opened up, but I do hope that there are people coming in, staying tuned to today's Talking Live with Macy because it's applicable to everyone. So if you're staying tuned, watching this, please share this with your friends, with your family, so they can join in, ask questions. I think that this is very important because it's related to our eyes, and our is basically one of the most important organs on our bodies. So please share this with your friends, family. Get 15 people at least to join us right now so I can officially begin today's topic. And you guys can also stay tuned and ask questions. If you have friends who are actually parents right now and who have children at home, this would be perfect for them because we're going to talk about the effects of prolonged lockdown on children's eyes. So ladies and gentlemen, or to all of you watching now, please share this with your friends, with your family, with your groups on WhatsApp, on Instagram, on Facebook, so they can tune in and ask questions and just be a part of knowing more about our eyesight, about our eyes, all the problems that comes with it or not, hopefully, especially for children. So I'll give it maybe about 30 more seconds before I officially begin. So come on, guys, let's get more people to come in, to tune in, so that we can actually have questions, be aware, be educated about our eyes, about myopia, about World Sight Day. This is such an important topic, especially when it comes to our eyes. And I truly believe that we have to bring more awareness to World Sight Day. I cannot stress that enough. So it looks like I'm going to begin now as we already have 16 people joining the stream. Welcome to Talking Live with Macy. It's good to see all of you. I know here in Malaysia, the borders have opened and everyone is traveling interstate, especially this particular weekend because it's the first weekend that borders have opened up. But I do hope you're staying safe and that while you're driving, you're also safe. So please share this even though everyone's traveling with your friends, with your family, and get them tuned in to find out more. Today, we're going to talk about prolonged lockdown and the effects it has on children's eyes. I think this is such an important topic because when we talk about the lockdown we and how detrimental it is to our mental well-being, we also need to talk about our overall health, which includes our eyes. So, this pandemic hasn't been easy on everyone from adults to children, with the form of switching from in person meets like interacting for children playing with one another in person to schooling and meetings through a screen. So, interaction, work, and school through a screen has tons of effects on our mental health, but also physically on our health, such as our eyes. So, in conjunction with World Sight Day, which has just passed on the 14th of October, we will focus on our eyes, especially children's eyes, during this pandemic. Myopia is a common vision condition in which you can see objects near to you clearly, but objects farther away becomes blur. So it occurs when the shape of our eyes causes light rays to bend or refract incorrectly, focusing images in front of your retina instead of on your retina. So, guys, if you have questions, you can put them in now so we don't have a backlog of questions towards the end of today's session. So, please start asking your questions. And if you have friends who are parents or if you're a parent yourself, this will be a good time to share this with your friends and with your family. So, we have our expert here today who is a consultant ophthalmologist, a pediatric ophthalmologist, and strabismus with three hospitals: Subang Jaya Medical Center, Ara Medical Center, and Park City Medical Center. So we have Dr. Norazah. Hi, Dr. Norazah.
Hi, Maisie. Hi, everybody.
It's good seeing you. Thank you so much for joining us on today's show.
Yes, it's good to see you too. I'm so excited today.
So, okay, I'll jump straight into the question. This pandemic and the lockdown here in Malaysia and worldwide is not good for children socially and also physically. And one of the main issues is actually learning and interacting from a computer screen, which is not good for our eyes, especially for children. So, could you share with us what are the issues that can arise for children who constantly stare at the screen, Dr. Norazah?
Yes, Maisie. Thank you for your kind introduction. Nowadays, millions of children are looking at the screen, whether at school or at home, for learning, for education, for recreation, entertainment. So, will this affect their vision? Their answer is yes. Well, not only they have a vision association with dry eyes, problem with their focusing problem or accommodative problem, they can have a condition called myopia. So, Maisie, what is myopia? I think you have explained earlier. Myopia is a form of refractive error. So, when somebody has myopia, there's a problem looking at the distance. Everything at the distance becomes blurry and fuzzy. Now, let me show you how your eyes work when you are focusing an object at a distance. So, here I have an eye model. Okay. So, when somebody with the normal refractive error, they don't have refractive error, meaning that their eyes are normal, their eyesight are good, they are focusing at an object at the distance. The light will pass through into the eyes through this front part here. This is called the cornea. Through this lens, which is transparent, and get focused on an area at the back here called macula. So, well, we are not learning anatomy today, but it's simple things. So, why macula is important? Because I call this an eye within the eye. So even though it's a small area, but this is where all the light is being focused on. So with somebody with normal and no refractive error, the image will fall on the retina. And the image they see is crystal clear, it is sharp, and it gets projected to the brain. The brain is seeing a sharp image. So what happens if you have myopia? In myopia, it can be due to the eyeball is slightly elongated or the cornea here is slightly curved. When it's slightly curved, the light is focused in front of the retina, and therefore the image is slightly blurry. Okay. So people with myopia will see an object in front of them very clear. But as we move the object away, it gets fuzzy and blurry. And Maisie, you know that myopia is actually a spectrum. Okay, it has a range of level. I think some people have low myopia. If you ask their prescription, what is your eye power like? Then they say, oh, my power is around 100 or maybe 300. Some even have higher, 600. Some even can reach to 1000. Okay, so that's why we always classify myopia into a low myopia or high myopia. So why myopia, high myopia become a subject of interest? Because of the risk of blindness. I will tell you later why do you want to prevent somebody to become high myopia and what are the risks associated with it. So the other things that we want you to think of is how big is the problem? How big is myopia? Now, World Health Organization, the WHO, has done a survey, okay, looking into the numbers of people with myopia. So in the year 2000, it's only about 22% of the world populations are myopic. This is what, 20 years ago? But how about now? Now, we have about 33% of the world populations of myopia. Okay, this is now. But how about in future? In 2050, around 3 years to go, 30 years to go, 2050, okay, it is projected that half or 50% of the world population will become myopic. Okay, out of this 50%, about 10% of them will become high myopia. Imagine we have 5 billion people have some form of refractive error, and about 1 billion has high myopia, which can lead to blindness. And imagine if you have two kids, one of them, or maybe both of them, could be myopia. Yes, Maisie.
Okay, wow, that is really serious. I mean, I didn't know that myopia could actually lead to blindness. I actually developed myopia just a couple of years ago, but not very high myopia. The next question I had for you is, what's the risk of developing myopia due to this lockdown? That means because we constantly stare at the screen.
Well, even before the pandemic, before lockdown, we see that the numbers of people with myopia has continuously increased, But we noticed that of late, because of the lockdown, a lot of children are becoming myopic. this is not only in Malaysia, it happens globally. Then there are studies done in various parts of the world where the myopia is considered endemic in Asian area, for example, in China, Taiwan. They noticed during this pandemic is about the numbers of children with myopia increased 2 times or even 3 times because of the lockdown. Now, why myopia progress during lockdown? Why it happens? Because during the lockdown, a lot of children are doing a lot of new works. A lot of new work, they stay indoors, they do online learning, and then they do not go out, do any activities outside or get exposed themselves to sunlight. Now, there are many studies that relate the near work to the development and progressions of myopia. And also many studies shows that natural sunlight is actually a protective factors against the onsets of myopia and also against the progression of myopia. Yes.
Wow. Okay. I think I need to go under the sun more, but I have this recently, so that's a good sign. So, any signs and symptoms that should parents watch out for when
Okay.
it comes to developing myopia?
I work with children. Children, they never complain. They hardly complain unless it is painful. That's all. So what they do, they adapt. So you see a lot of behavioral, visual behavior based on their adaptation. So mainly all the symptoms is picked up by the teachers at school. For example, one student is sitting at the back of the class. Then we notice that when he's trying to copy everything is written on the whiteboard, he will come at the front of the class and start copying. Then the teacher will suspect you might have some visual problem. But how about those who are at home? So a lot of parents notice that when they're watching the TV, they tend to go near to the TV to see. All right, that is one clue there. Okay. Other clues are basically, kids, they like to adjust. When they look at something at distance, they try to they squeeze the eye, or they just, make it squeeze the eye. We call it squinting. But in medical terms, squinting means misalignment. But I use that word because a lot of people say they're squinting the eyes, squeeze the eye to focus. Sometimes they adjust the head. They adjust until they get to see the object clearer. So this is an abnormal head posturing already. Okay. Some have a complaint of headache. Some even have excessive blinking or eye rubbing. Some complain of tiredness when doing homework. Some children, they don't perform well at sports because they can't see, they can't perform well. Some have poor grade at school, and some even have a continuous frustration. They even have some behavioral problems, Maisie. So
Wow.
it is very important for the parents to be more aware and to be more, I would say, empathy to the child, and always think, check their vision. Yes, Maisie.
Okay. So, some of the symptoms that you've mentioned is basically they squeeze their eyes when they are looking at something far away, and also when they go closer to the whiteboard to copy. So these are some of the things, the symptoms that you've mentioned. So parents definitely should rewind this video later and take it down. So then, how do parents treat it, and who should they see? Treat
All right.
myopia,
Now,
and who should they see?
yes. Um, First of all, you need to see whether the child has the symptoms or not. If they don't, it doesn't mean that they have perfect eye visions. You still have to check. Now, you can do some home tests where you can ask the child to actually look at a distance, read some signboard, or read something on the wall to basically check their vision. Now, if they are using both eyes, if one eye is good, then they can have good vision. But it is better for you to check for each eye. So you know which eye is the better eye, which eye is the weaker eye. All right.
Yeah.
So if you notice that you can see better in one eye, but not in the other eye, there must be some form of issues in the other eye, the weaker eye. It could be the form of refractive error. It could be a form of myopia. I mentioned earlier, myopia is a spectrum, right? So in children, if they have one dominant eye, good eye, they see better. Okay. So what they need to do is they need to bring the child for an eye checkup, check their vision, see whether they have any underlying refractive error. Now, the optometrists in our country, they are very good. They are well trained. So they can see and they know if they suspect something amiss, they will refer them to an eye care specialist, the ophthalmologist, for further, I would say, follow up or investigation or further treatment. Now, so if they were asked to wear glasses, okay, because of some form of refractive error, they see better with glasses, please get them the glasses. Now, some of the parents, they are very reluctant to give their son or daughter's glasses because they thought like, if I were to give them glasses, they become dependent to it and somehow the refractive error will increase. No, this is a myth, Maisie, because we know if we don't give glasses, myopia will progress because the eyeball is growing. We know that, okay? But the progression will go into higher rate. So that's one thing, all right? So when we talk about, when we give them glasses, we need to then follow up at least once a year, whether they have good vision with that glasses or whether they have what you call myopia or lazy eye that need to be treated. Now, as I mentioned earlier, myopia will progress. Then we monitor what is the rate of progression is like.
Okay. So
Okay,
at least
Maisie?
get it checked once a year. Okay.
Yes.
That's a good, it's something like doing a yearly medical checkup. So just check the eyes once a year. It's not too difficult. Parents do take note of that.
Mm-hmm.
So if myopia progresses and it's not addressed or taken care of, how do we prevent it from progressing?
Okay. When we talk about prevention, I feel that everybody must play a role, Maisie. It must be coming from the parents, it must be coming from the teacher. All right. So, one thing that is very important is to increase the awareness about myopia among the kids. Now, children nowadays are smart, they know. Okay, so for parents, it's very important to emphasize on healthy eye habit when using the screen. Okay, for example, make sure that the child um, use the screen only for education purpose. Now, if they want to play games or they want to watch videos, see movies, you can watch from a bigger screen or watch from a smart TV because we will try to get them away from doing a lot of near work. Advise them to take a quick trip outside. You know, every 1 hour, take just about 10 minutes break and look at something at a distance. It can be a hill, it can be trees or any signboard on the street. Okay. And then try to limit the screen exposure only for education purpose. Okay. And then encourage the child to be outdoors. Well, of course, during this pandemic, we see a lot of parents. They discourage the children going out. They say they're scared of COVID, and what they do is they give a lot of activities indoors, like drawing, playing pianos, and other things. And apart from the online classes, they have tuition online. You know, I think it's a bit too heavy for the child.
It's
Okay,
true.
so and then remember to apply 2020 rules. Okay, so I will explain what is 2020 rules. Now, again, it is also important for the teachers to explain to the children, to their students. Sometimes kids, they don't listen to their parents, but they listen to their teachers, you see. So whatever teachers say is right. Okay. All right. So it is very important to actually remind the student every 20 minutes we have to do the 20 rules. Every 20 minutes, let's find some object which is about 20 feet away and count 1 to 20. It takes about 20 seconds to rest your eye in between and give them more break. So during the break, you must tell your students, okay, we are taking break. Just get a short trip outside or just stand at the window, look at something distance. What happened nowadays when children were given break? They move from the screen to their phone or to other devices. They continue with their chit-chatting, their games, their online games, and then they get back to the screen. So screen to another screen. So it is very important to teach the student and also to let the parents know and students know about myopia. And this is when we have online learning. What if in future when the school are open up and we have face-to-face learning? So during face-to-face learning, it is also important for the teachers to get the student more outside. During recess, encourage them to go out rather than stay in class. There are study done to show that those who spend their recess uh, outside the classroom has better control of the myopia than those who stay inside. Of course, this study is done during before the pandemics. And then get more outdoors activity, try to organize more activity outside the classroom, increase the period for physical education, because nowadays what is the most important is to get the child outside, do more activities. Not only it helps to control the myopia, it can always helps to combat obesity and also diabetes. All right. Yes, Maisie.
Yes, I totally agree on the fact that children or even adults should actually go out more. So I'll practice 20-20-20 rule. I must look outside every 20 minutes so my myopia does not progress. But what should people or parents do if it's actually progressing? Just,
Okay.
yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, that they should bring their child for a yearly follow-up, even though they have normal eyesight, because we know myopia can progress. So if the myopia is noted to be progressed, usually more than 75 diopters in a year or 100 a year. So what we do, we have to control it. There are many ways we can control myopia. For example, glasses. Okay, so glasses is the easiest way to get the child on glasses because it has no side effect. It is well tolerated and it is easy, but it is not cheap. Okay, now single vision glasses, the one that we do is to correct myopia. Yes, it helps you to give better vision, but it does nothing to correct progressions. If somebody is noted to have a progressive myopia, it is better for us to change the glasses to a specially designed glasses. We call it the myopia control lenses. It's available in the optical shop. Okay, and we have also many ways to control. For example, using contact lens. But of course, when we talk about treatment, it is customized based on the age of the patient, the budget, and then the receptions of patient towards the treatment. Okay, contact lens might not be suitable for smaller kids. There are certain patients who have good criteria for multifocal contact lens usage, and then there is a special contact lens that can be worn at night and being removed the next morning. This is called, it's a hard contact lens. This is called an autokeratology, or people know it as auto K. It's another form of treatment. Another form of treatment is using eye drops, Maisie. So this eye drop is relatively new. It is zero point 0.0, a low dose atropine. The one that we use here is 0.01% that need to be instilled every night for at least 2 years or many years to go until the myopia progression stops. So there are various ways to stop progression. Yes, Maisie.
Okay, so this is more for children, and this can be applied to adults as well. Then.
Mainly we see progression myopia in children because normally in children, uh, the myopia will progress because the eyeball is started to elongate, in the early life. But then we will see that this refractive error will become stabilized around late teens, and it will stop progress when the child reach 18 or 21. So most of this treatment is done on children.
Okay.
Mm.
That's interesting, actually, good to know. So, if a child already has myopia, what's the risk of blindness from it?
Okay. Um, as I mentioned earlier, that high myopia, particularly those who have refractive error of more than 500 or 600, they have higher risk of blindness. Why? Because, let me get back to my eye model. So what happened in high myopia is that the eyeball is tend to grow longer. So they have higher risk of developing cataract. So what is cataract? Cataract is a condition where the lens is situated here, this part here, and it is transparent. It is transparent to allow the light to pass through. But cataract happens early, and it becomes opaque. So they have a risk of a difficulty in seeing blurring vision. Okay. The other risk of blindness coming from a condition called glaucoma. So what is glaucoma? Glaucoma is a chronic condition where the pressure of the eyes increase, and in the long run, it press the nerve, tiny millions of nerve at the back here, and pressure on the nerve for many, many years will lead to blindness. Okay, because the nerve die off, right? That is glaucoma. Now, when the eyeball is grow longer, the eye area in the retina here becomes stretched, the retina becomes thin, and it can easily tear, or there are hole on it, and then it can get detached from its original position. Not only that, at the back here, because of the shell of the eye becomes stretched, they have some degenerative changes at the macula called myopic macular degeneration. So those are the risks of blindness that is associated with high myopia. But not only blindness, if somebody has high myopia, it always cause involved high index glasses for high myopia are expensive, right?
Mm.
And also, if they develop any complication from high myopia, if you compare the risk of blindness, they have a lower age group. They're coming from a lower age group, where this age group, they are still productive compared to, say, somebody who have, or have acquired blindness secondary to an eye condition like degenerated macular degeneration, what we call ARMD, that happens in the elderly population, elderly patient. So there's
Mm.
loss of productivity there, and it becomes an economic burden to the country. And then, if they have high myopia, they are poor candidates for LASIK, and they have to go to other form of refractive surgery. And as an eye surgeon, um, I know that those who have high myopia has a higher risk of getting complication during surgery. So those are the things that related to high myopia. Why we want it to happen to our patient. That's why we wanted to prevent somebody from younger age to develop high myopia. Yes, maybe.
Okay, wow. I didn't know that high myopia, especially in children, could be so detrimental for their growth and also their future activities.
Mm. Mm.
So I think that is all of the questions I have for you, Dr. Norazah. It's time for us to take questions from the audience. So, like I mentioned earlier, if you have questions for Dr. Norazah regarding your child's eyes or your grandkids' eyes, even, please put them in now so Dr. Norazah can pick up and answer your questions. So I see Samuel has a few questions already. Um, he asks how to communicate effectively with children during lockdown. That's interesting. uh, I think, okay, I'll ask the question related to the eyes. How to solve
It's
problems
okay.
of
I think
children's.
I think I can answer that. It
Okay.
is not easy. It is not easy because a lot of my patients, they come with various eye problems. For example, they come to me with they call it hard blinking. They blink so hard. Most of the time, blinking can be due to allergy, can be due to dryness, but it can also be due to tics. Some behavioral issues when
Ah,
they have
yes.
stress. So I see a lot of children with that. So, of course, children, they are different than adults. It's so difficult, especially our Asian children, to express their feelings. If you don't ask them, we don't know. We thought they're happy locked all the time at home. But actually, no. The pandemic has been around for the last 2 years. I really pity them, when they're always at home and not allowed to even go outside the house. That's why we encourage a lot of outdoors activity. Outdoors doesn't mean they have to go out and mingle with people. They can just go outside the house, do some work, expose themselves to sunlight, do some games outside, or even doing some gardening. A lot of things can be done outside.
That's true. So to communicate with them, I think it's good to have activities, outdoor activities with your children. So he asked how to solve problems of children's eyes when they study online almost 5 hours a day.
All right. As I mentioned earlier, we can't take away the device from them. Study online is 5 hours, but they must take break in between. That's the teachers have to play the role. The parents have to play the role. And then when they have spent 5 hours studying, the next thing they do is to get it outside. get them to play. Children, they need to play. So that's the thing I think is very important.
Okay, noted. Get children outside, outdoors, to get them to play with one another. Even with their siblings, it's important. The next
Yes.
question is from Irene. She is a grandmother to two granddaughters, one 8 and another 5. Both are practically on the screen more than 6 hours, school online classes and preschool online classes. Both actually have myopia. The younger one is around 250 to 300 wearing glasses from the start of this year. She's under an optometrist. My question anyway, any way to improve her eyesight?
Okay. Eyesight. Okay. Of course, when we talk about ways to improve, a lot of people are thinking about diet, about vitamin, whether it can help to improve or not, right? So,
Yeah.
what we when somebody have myopia, we cannot reverse. It will only progress. The only we can do is we have to delay the progression until they are 18 or 21, when their refractive errors become stable. Okay, so far there are no formulation or vitamins or mineral in the market that can reverse myopia. I know there's a lot of pseudoscience or people trying to convince to sell some product says that it helps to control or helps them with the vision, but it is nothing that is proven to control or reverse myopia.
So the only ways to improve like her granddaughter's eyesight is basically to delay the progression. Like what you advised
Yes,
earlier to actually look out more, to have more sunlight in their eyes. And so these are some of the advice that you have given. Am I
yes,
right? Okay.
yes.
Hope that that answers your question, Miss Irene. And Madam Yo asks, is myopia hereditary?
Yes, myopia is hereditary. Now, if you have one parent with myopia, the risk of your kids to have myopia is higher. But if both parents are myopia, the risk of them getting myopia is even higher. But of course, we know there are two factors are involved. One is hereditary, one is environment factors. I mentioned earlier about sunlight and about near work. Those are the things that you can work on because you cannot change your gene. So
Mm.
awareness of it is very important.
Okay. So
Mm.
the next question is from May Lau. Is it common that very young kids have long-sightedness, which is the opposite of myopia, if I'm not mistaken?
Long-sightedness. Okay. Yes. As a pediatric ophthalmology, the children are born with a small eyeball, right? So they have a long-sightedness rather than myopia. They do, but they have a different level of long-sightedness. And as the eyeball grow longer, the long-sightedness will start to reduce, and eventually it will hit zero. And eventually, because of the lifestyle and genetic disposition, then it will slowly move towards myopia.
Wow,
So again,
that's
they can
interesting.
have myopia, even they are born with long-sightedness.
Okay, so they can have myopia even if they have sightedness. So they have
Yeah.
long-sightedness and nearsightedness at the same time.
No, not the same time, at a different time.
So
I'm
it
talking
just
about the
progresses
throughout the, yes, it progressed,
their lifetime. Okay. And Shirley had a question. Is it true that lazy eyes cannot be cured after 7 years of age?
It is so true, Maisie. It is so true. That's why it is very important for us to do the screening, the vision screening on the children, because we need to correct all the refractive error or any eye diseases before the first 8 years of life, before the 8 years of life. This is because you have this critical period where the brains are learning. So if we detect it early, even though the visions are poor, they have lazy eye, we can always treat the lazy eye and it can reverse. But if it is past 8 years, I didn't, the treatment is slightly difficult.
Okay, so everything should be kind of detected and treated before the age of 8.
Yes.
All right.
If you're talking about visual screening, it is better to check them early as 3 years old or even 4 years old. Now, a lot of parents are asking me, my son doesn't know ABC, how do they read the Snellen chart? If you go for eye checkup, they ask you to read ABC, right, Maisie?
Yeah.
So they're afraid that the child cannot perform. Well, what I can say is that we have various tools to check their vision. Not only for younger child, we can always check vision for even a baby. So there are ways of doing it. So don't worry about that part. Just bring your kids for the examination.
Uh, for baby and like toddler eye check, they would rather go to an ophthalmologist, right? Not an optometrist.
Yes. Usually, we will check on babies if they have risks. For example, a premature baby, or they have some eye abnormality that we suspect some eye diseases. Then we'll see them and do the
Okay.
eye examination.
So I have one more question from Irene. She says, as you say, to stop the progression of myopia, her granddaughter is on daily eye drops. Will her
Yes.
degree decrease anytime? Like when she goes for the daily eye drops, will it decrease her myopia?
As I mentioned earlier, the myopia will not reduce in degree. We can only help to maintain that to make it stable or
Okay.
slow down the progression. Yeah.
I hope that these tips actually help you, Irene, with your granddaughter. Shirley said that her lazy eyes cannot be reversed anymore because she's clearly past the age of 8.
But they can still try. I never give up on my patient. I always try until they are 17.
Okay, I think she's past 17 too.
That is okay. I mean,
All
right.
right. So I think that's all the questions we have today, Dr. Norazah. Thank you so much for answering all of
Well,
the audience's questions
I have a
and also
surprise
my
for you,
questions.
Macy. I have a
Oh,
surprise
what
for
is it?
you. I'm going to share some tips on healthy eye habits.
Okay,
Okay, so let's
please
listen.
go ahead.
So basically, a lot of parents asking in what ways they can, educate their children. So I tell them that it's as easy as ABC. So A is basically avoid and adhere. Avoid excessive looking at the screen and limit the screen usage only for education purpose. I'm talking about near work, okay, like phone or like an iPad, and then adhere to 20-20-20 rules. Let me recap. 20 minutes, every 20 minutes, you look at an object about 20 feet away for just 20 seconds. It is so short, okay? It's so simple, okay? Now, B is brightness and blink. So brightness, you adjust the room brightness so that they can have a better what do you call it, learning station, better vision, and reduce the brightness of your screen so that they do not strain the eyes so much. And tell your kids, don't forget to blink, because children, when they are too engrossed into what they are doing, they're just staring at the screen without blinking. Now we know that normal rate of blinking rate is around 20 to 25 a minute, but you can see if a child is so focused on looking at something, they don't blink. The blink rate reduce. So they have higher tendency to develop dry eyes. Then they start rubbing eyes, and rubbing eyes is bad. Please tell them, do not rub your eyes, because rubbing eyes can cause an astigmatism to progress, not only myopia, astigmatism. Okay. Now C. C is to consume and care. So what do you consume? Consume healthy food. Food that contain a lot of antioxidant, vitamin A, C, and E, and a lot of lutein and xanthin. Because lutein and xanthin are pigments on the macula. Remember I told you about macula, the eye within the eye? So of course there is no vitamin or mineral to reverse myopia, but at least these are good to maintain the eye health. Okay, you're going to use your eye forever, right? Okay. Now, care is to get an eye checkup every year at least. Now, not only ABC, we have a little bit more. D. D is distance and daylight. Now, take care of the distance between the eyes and the gadget, because we want to reduce near work, right? So just remember 1, 2, and tap. 1 feet from the eyes and the handphone. Two is from your eyes and the laptop. Meaning it's just 1 feet is just, when ask them to do this is the minimum distance from here to the
Okay.
laptop, to the phone. That's the minimum, okay?
All right.
So feet is from the screen. So it's just hi-fi your screen, and 10 feet is from the smart TV. And get more daylight, get more sunlight, because I've mentioned that daylight and sunlight helps to reduce not only the onset of myopia, it maybe helps to reduce the progressions of myopia. Now, E, very important. E is about ergonomic and an eye drop. So, and what is ergonomic? Ergonomic is a study about your body relation to the gadget or the workstation. You see, so we see a lot of things when they study at school. They have a proper chair and table with their size, but at home they are using all table and chairs which is designed for adult. Okay, and a lot of children, sometimes you don't be surprised. Some of them are learning on the floor. They put the book on the floor and they're writing very near. They're doing all the works. The face is very near to the book, so which is a bad posturing. And children, they are growing. Their bodies are growing. They need to emphasize. We need to emphasize on the good posturing so that the bone and the muscle grow in the proper way, okay, and give it an eye drops. Now we know that they're on screen for 5 hours. It is not harmful to get some lubricative eye drop, artificial tears from the counter, put the drops on the eyes to prevent dry eyes. And F is about lastly family fun time. Have a fun time together with your kids outside the house, okay? Just to stay indoors. Find a time with them, right?
Thank you so
Yeah,
much for your
amazing.
tips, Dr.
Yeah.
Norazah. And they are really, really beneficial, not just for kids, but actually for me as an adult. It's also good that I know because my nieces are very addicted to the screens and they do, like one of them actually schools from the screen. So I realize as well that they like to stare at the screen very closely. So I always tell them to go further, but it's good to know that the distance is like one elbow, 1 feet, and hi-fi the screen. So I think that is really, really good
Mm,
advice that you've
mm,
given to all of us, even myself. I'll ensure that my nieces are aware of it, or rather my brother and my sister-in-law. So thank you so much for sharing with us
yeah,
and answering all of the audience's questions. We really, really appreciate it, Dr. Norazah, for being with us
right.
over this weekend when everyone is traveling because the interstate borders are lifted. So thank you once
Yeah.
again
Mhm.
for raising awareness about eyesight, about myopia in conjunction with World Sight Day 2021. Thank you,
All
everyone,
right,
for joining
Maisie.
us.
Yeah, Maisie. I hope I have managed to increase the awareness among your audience and every one of us about myopia. And also, I would like to mention about the Malaysian Advocacy for Myopia Prevention. This is a non-profit organization under the umbrella of Malaysian Society of Ophthalmology, where we want to increase the awareness about myopia among the children in Malaysia. So please watch the videos. We have done a lot of hard work for the last few days in conjunction with World Sight Day, educating the publics about myopia. So this talk was given by all other experts in myopia. Please look out for that. Thank you, Maisie.
Thank you once again, Dr. Norazah. So please check out the Malaysian Society of Ophthalmology and their sort of subsidiary association called MAMP, Malaysian Association of Myopia Prevention, because we need to raise awareness about myopia, especially amongst children. All right. Thank you, guys. Please share this video with people who have children and with anyone whom you know who have myopia. I believe this would help them a lot. Thank you so much, everyone. And I will be back in 2 weeks' time for Talking Life with Macy. Thank you so much. Happy Sunday, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.